Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right into this one. Yeah, this is going to be very upsetting for Alabama folks, that's for sure. They got kicked out. Just call it what it is. And Clemson and SMU, they backed into the playoff, the ACC Titans that they are. Anyway, let's get into all this. There's so many teams that are upset that didn't get in. South Carolina's very upset. I'm sure Miami, Ole Miss, but Alabama's the most because they were already in, and they were assured once you're in, you're locked in. But Clemson, they come flying in from number 17 or whatever they were and beat the vaunted SMU Stallions. I don't know. What is SMU? I don't know. They used to be group of five anyway. SMU, I'll just call them that. They pushed Bama out with a, that was a good game though. All right, so let's look at the bracket first, and then you can kind of see what's going on. Obviously, Oregon's number 1, Georgia's number 2. Georgia won without their quarterback and without their punter. Man, they had a tough night. Texas. Then Boise State gets to be number 3 because of communism/socialism, whatever you want to call it. And, of course, Arizona State, which is ranked number 12, they get to be number 4 because participation trophies, it's 2024. You know, you played in your difficult conference, and we're going to bump you about 10 spots. There you go. There's your participation trophy. So one thing I don't like about the 12-team playoff, and I've had some of you act like, why are you mad at the 12-team playoff? You were happy when they were moving it from 4 to 12. Totally agree. You're right. I love the 12-team playoff compared to the 4-team playoff. But I don't like all the socialism and bullcrap that's in here, pushing up teams that don't deserve it. But it is what it is. We're living in the times we're living in. After that, number 5 is Texas, who was the number 3 ranked. And then Penn State, they didn't bump them down too much after losing to Oregon. Notre Dame gets bumped to number 7. And then Ohio State gets bumped from number 6 to number 8 because, again, you've got Arizona State and Boise State taking spots that they don't deserve. And then Tennessee is number 7. They get bumped to number 9, so they're playing on the road. That's another reason I don't like all the helping hands of the committee and the way they got this set up is that a team that's number 7 gets bumped to number 9. Now we got to go on the road. But look, I'm glad we're in. Don't get it twisted. I'm very glad we're in. 2 weeks ago, we weren't. And I was getting ready to be very upset. You can imagine how Bama feels today. Whew, and I'm going to show you. And then here's Clemson. They backdoored their way in as well and pushed Alabama out. Now, of course, the way they're showing it, it was between SMU and Alabama because Clemson got guaranteed because they won the ACC. But when you look at this, strength of schedule, SMU had the 60th ranked schedule. Alabama had the 16th. That's not even close. I would love to have the 60th ranked schedule. We'd go undefeated. So would Alabama. But it is what it is. Alabama beat Georgia, South Carolina South Carolina was a tough team. Missouri and LSU. And let's see who SMU beat. Louisville and Duke. Pitt and TCU. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, if you looked at that and compared it, it's not even close, honestly. But it is what it is. Bama, you're out. Now let's see what Nick Saban had to say. You know he's not happy.
Well, I think one of the things that I've mentioned, throughout this football season is if we don't take strength of schedule into consideration, is there any benefit to scheduling really good teams in the future? Like, here at Alabama, we're supposed to play Notre Dame, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Florida State in the future outside the league. Well, those are great games for fans to see, and that's what I think we should be doing. In college football is creating more good inventory for great games that people are interested in. But do you enhance people wanting to do that where what's the athletic director going to do? He may go cancel all those games now.
So, of course, Nick Saban's not happy, and rightfully so. He thinks, obviously, Bama's the better team, but, is what it is. Let's also see what some other Alabama folks think.
But they don't. Clearly, they don't. SMU played Little Sisters of the Poor. They played a 2A football schedule here in the state of Alabama, and they get all the rewards. And the only 2 teams they played all year with a pulse, they couldn't beat them. So I don't see the benefit to playing a tough team on your schedule ever again. And next year, if I'm Greg Byrne, I immediately call Florida State and say, sorry, not sorry. We're going to get out of this contract. Oh, it's going to cost us $300,000. No problem. We'll call Mercer back. We'll pay them $1 million to come here, and then we'll make more money. Same thing with Wisconsin. Sorry, y'all don't get to come back. Sorry, we're going to buy you out of that. And we're going to call Mercer again. We're going to play Mercer 3 times next year. And they're going to get rich, and we're going to get rich. And then we don't have to worry about injuries and bruises. Nicole Auerbach, in her infinite wisdom, said something about how, I don't understand why Alabama fans are so mad about the non-con. They didn't lose any of those. It's all part of the scheduling. Do you see that when you play Florida State and Wisconsin, the nicks and the bruises from playing Power 4 teams add up throughout the year? When you're Texas and you play a bunch of nobodies, and when you're especially SMU and you play a bunch of nobodies, you don't have to worry about that quite as much.
I got to agree with that. That Georgia-Texas game, that was like 2 gladiators going at it. I mean, good grief. Georgia lost their starting quarterback, their probably all-American punter, and it was brutal. I mean, it really looked like the NFL versus college when you watched SMU and Clemson. And honestly, the same thing, even with Oregon and Penn State, the defenses were not there. Well, I tell you what, Texas and Georgia's defense was there. Man, and we played Georgia. That defense is tough. It just is. And Texas looked like they were very similar. They've got some absolute horses on that defensive line. Jeez. So anyway, Bama, you're out. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, look, it is what it is. If I was you, I'd be upset too. But so be it. Here's what people are saying the entire country's doing right now. All right, now we need to talk about South Carolina and their dilemma. The worst possible thing that could happen has happened to them. Clemson got in ahead of them. They beat Clemson on their home field. They're ranked higher. They got creaked out of the playoff. Alabama got put in front of them. And so did Miami, and so did Ole Miss. I mean, they just pretty much crapped all over South Carolina. And they should have, and they were the hottest team in the country towards the second half of the year, won 6 in a row, and nobody really wanted to play them. And rightfully so. So they go and beat their nemesis, which is Clemson. And now they're watching them party in the playoff, and they're going to go to the whatever bowl. And that's very upsetting, as you can imagine. So here is probably the typical reaction for every South Carolina fan out there.
When you're talking to some of these morons, they look at everything through their Tater Homer shades, and that's fine. You know what I can still crow about for a year? 17-14, we beat your ass in your own little dumpy stadium.
Yeah, they're not taking it real well over in South Carolina land. But here's the other thing. This is the thing I'm having to deal with. With South Carolina, I can live with them being good this year. They were much improved. They're deep. They were terrible last year. They weren't worth a crap in 2022 until Connor Stallion showed up out of the blue.
Sign stealer guy.
And turned them into a world beater where they took out 2 playoff-bound teams.
Allegedly.
Anyway, that's my opinion. But I got to live with the fact that Shane Beamer was named Coach of the Year. Shane Beamer is Coach of the Year.
It's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
No!
Yeah, I can't deal with it. It's too much. It's too much for me. I can deal with him getting the playoff way better than I can Shane Beamer being Coach of the Year. It's unimaginable, but I got to live with it. And I've already told you the only thing that could be worse is Billy Napier being Coach of the Year next year, and surely that won't happen. If that happens, I don't know. I'll have to take a sabbatical or something.
I just know something bad is going to happen.
Huh?
Anyway, let's talk about UT and their situation. Obviously, we're going on the road to play Ohio State because we had to be bumped 2 spots, again, because I told you why. I'm not that up. You know what? First of all, we're in. You should be happy about that because, again, like I said 2 weeks ago, we were out. Playing Ohio State, it's not like they're unbeatable. Crap, they struggle against the run. We're good at the run. And if Ryan Day, what we might ought to do is put on some Michigan uniforms, I think we'd have a better chance. For some reason, he can't coach against Michigan. I don't understand it. Ohio State's got a ton of talent. I mean, they're really good. Their wide receiver room is an NFL room. It really is. And they got Caleb Downs from Alabama, who's the safety of the planet. And their cornerbacks are really good. So they're loaded on defense as well. It'll be a tough game. It'll be hard for us to win, but it is a winnable game. It flat out is. The weather will certainly play a role. It should be cold as crap up there. They're excited about how cold it's going to be. They want it to be brutal. Now, we played Vandy in 30-degree weather and handled it just fine, but I don't think Nico's going to have as much time in the backfield to look for wide receivers. I think Ohio State will put a little bit more pressure than Vanderbilt was able to do.
How dare you!
So anyway, I think that'll be a really good game. The Clemson, Texas, I expect Texas to just whoop up on them. I don't see Clemson being able to handle it. The Penn State, SMU, they should be able to handle SMU, you would think, without too much trouble. And then Notre Dame, Indiana, I want to pick Notre Dame to win that ball game. I don't know though, but it should be pretty interesting. We don't know how good Notre Dame is. They've played such an easy schedule, it's hard to know. And then Indiana's done the same thing. So I would lean towards thinking Notre Dame, but you might be surprised because, again, you're just not sure with some of these teams how good or not good they are. And one important thing for Tennessee to do, we need to prove we can win tough games on the road, which is really hard to do. Look, nobody goes out on the road and wins a bunch of ball games. It's even Georgia this year lost 2 games, both on the road. One to Alabama, one to Ole Miss. So it's difficult. Now, Josh Heupel has won some good games on the road. We beat LSU down there. Now, granted, it was 11 o'clock Central, which the one big part of that was super positive was about half the stadium was hung over from the night before. It's LSU.
You picked up some bootleg liquor. Where did you get the liquor? Where did you get the liquor?
Yeah, they like to party at night, so I think that was helpful, but it would be really good for Josh Heupel's history book to go into Ohio State and win there at the Shoe. That would be really good, and it would be great for our confidence going into this playoff. It would be a great way to start, because if we won that ball game, we'd be playing Oregon in a neutral site. And I think Oregon's gettable because their defense is not that good. Now, they got a great offense. If we can stop their offense, I think we could beat Oregon, especially at a neutral site. So it's a tough road to hoe. It's not impossible at all. And we've certainly got the talent. I mean, crap, we've got a top 10 defense everywhere you look. And if Nico continues to stay hot like he's been the last few games, I think we'll be okay. So anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit this little button. Won't cost you a dime, help you get my videos. Simple. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.